we have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud. We have put together voter fraud, the most extensive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is a Thirsty Thursday, and I got a thermos full of SHTF for everybody, and it's hot. Good golly, folks. We've got a lot of information to talk about. It has hit the fan. Now, down below, if you need something to get prepared, if you don't have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and means of self-defense handled, I recommend you get to the thepreparedmind.club. Enough pimping the website. Let's get into what's going down. Folks, I used the voter fraud intro because there's more voter fraud crap coming out. They're trying to kick Trump off of the ballot because 8 disgruntled Democrats want to challenge his ability to be on the ballot in Minnesota. Now, understand that no Republican has won Minnesota in 50 years, but it looked like Trump was going to in 2020 because Joe Biden campaigned while taking a fucking nap. Now, where do we go from here? We've got continuing campaign lawsuits. We've got continuing fraud lawsuits. Now, in Colorado, prosecutors have been caught in a major lie in a court case in an attempt to remove President Trump from the ballot. There's video evidence of this major lying going on. Now, let me take you back, if we shall. Do you remember hearing about this concept, this term, this thought called disenfranchised voters? Oh yeah, you can go all the way back to 2000 in the Gore versus Bush. Now, in hindsight, we know Bush was no great winner, but Gore was far worse. Be that as it may, we heard that if you don't count every ballot, if you don't check every ballot, allow every ballot that's qualified to be in, if you don't do all of that and bend over backwards and stare with a fucking magnifying glass at a fucking ballot to see if the president is dimpled, puckered, pooched, punched, indicated, a little grease spot, that means that vote has to be counted. They've gone way past that now, folks. They don't want to count every vote. They want to be able to switch every vote. And they don't even want the fucking candidate to be in the race. You want to talk about disenfranchising voters who want to vote for Trump. Now, let's understand this. Trump has not committed a crime of insurrection. He has not committed a crime, folks, that would invalidate him as a candidate. But they're still trying. That is how frightened the Democrats are of Trump. Now, you and I, we all know that the most motivational sensation, emotion, thought process that a human being has is fear. It trumps, surpasses greed, jealousy, anything else. It is fear. The Democrats fear Trump. They fear the voters, and they don't want to give the voters even the opportunity to dimple a Chad or to push an electronic button that says Trump. It is disenfranchising the voters. It is disenfranchising a candidate. It is disenfranchising the Constitution. Oh, there's limits to free speech, John. Oh, there's limits to the Second Amendment, John. Oh, there's limits to the Fourth and Fifth Amendments, John. No, there's limits to the Sixth, Seventh, and Eighth. No due process for prisoners. We can abuse them and torture them. You bet, no problem, says the government. We can go into their homes. We can collect information on them without a search warrant. We can investigate people with no crime. We can even go arrest people who did not commit a crime, charge them with crimes because they're the government, suffer no consequences for charging people with no crimes and having unlawfully arrested, unlawfully imprisoned them, and denied them due process, legal representation, quick and speedy trials, and to be safe and secure in their persons, their papers, their private and property. Welcome to 1775. King George is jealous. He is spinning in his grave that he doesn't have the power and authority that the United States of America government has. He is joyfully, gleefully dancing a jig in his coffin because he's now fucking us over centuries later. Thank you, King George, for introducing, or rather reintroducing, the idea that the sovereign is the government and not the people. Wow. Shit has hit the fan, folks, and I just barely touched that thermos full of shit. Now I'm going to give you another type of judge. You're going to love this shit. This judge, her name is Lila Lavender. Now, what kind of judge is she? Is she a federal judge? Is she a local judge? Is she a state judge? Is she an election judge? Is she a judge on American Idol? No, she's none of those things. Lila Lavender is a high school debate judge. And so you're thinking, why the fuck is John talking about a kid? Well, because this person decided to say these words, quote, "Before anything else," meaning before you consider me as the high school debate judge, "before anything else, including being a debate judge, I am a Marxist, Leninist, Maoist." Folks, all day long, I can talk about the dangers of allowing communism, Maoism, Marxism to exist in our country. And a high schooler saying those words, is evidence that schools are dangerous institutions of Marxist, Maoist, Leninist, murderous indoctrination. That's what they are. This kid, this idiot of a child, is going to try and destroy any other child they meet. And they're going to try and corrupt their minds with their filthy, communist, Maoist, Leninist, fascist bending, authoritarian, totalitarian, scumbag, mass murdering lies. Did I leave anything out there, Uman? This idiot of a child also doesn't realize that she or it is a tool of revolution and a tool of mass murder, who will then be murdered and disposed of if she accomplishes the goal of the true controllers of this movement. Once they have power, folks, they kill all of their revolutionary stooges. Lenin, oh, you're a Leninist? Lenin's people got murdered. Those were the Bolsheviks. Mao had his color change revolution. His student idiots, and they were murdered and disposed of because they're dangerous. They could have another revolution after the one that brings in communism. This is incredibly dangerous, folks. This kid, this idiot child, is ugly inside and out, 100%. It should be criminal to declare oneself anti-life, anti-human, anti-freedom, anti-American, and pro-murder by supporting and claiming to be a pro-mass murdering communist. That, folks, this is their goal: steal everyone's property, kill anyone that disagrees with them, and then from that point out, hold every living human being to the lowest common denominator, the lowest standard, and make their life a living hell through fear, intimidation, coercion, duress, and by making them witness the murder of their own people. I hope I painted a great fucking picture of what communism, Marxism, Leninism, Maoism, Stalinism is. This channel, folks, I would love for it to be about fun, happy things, about what a great place America is. It's not anymore. They've taken that. And this idiot student, do you think for a second as a judge, she will allow in a debate someone to make valid, succinct, intelligent, rational, intellectual arguments, or will she cut them off? Will she deny their points? Will she lie, cheat, and steal? Will she just say, you lose? See, that's what a Marxist, communist, Leninist, Maoist piece of shit would do. They will win at any cost, including murdering their political opponents. So why wouldn't this student who's practicing to become one of those murderers just eliminate the competition? Not violently, folks, not yet. It's not that time. We're not in that room, not yet. But where did this Maoist, Stalinist, Leninist, Marxist, communist pile of shit learn what she learned and come to the conclusion that it's a good idea? Because they've been fed the lie that it works, that it's good, that it produces a positive result, that it's the best thing, that it's fair, that it's equitable, that it's equity in motion. Oh yeah, it's fair. Here we are, folks. It is 2023. What do you think of that shit? Well, let me take you down the primrose path to destruction a little more, shall we? The totally gutless Republicans in Congress voted against censuring pro-terrorist, pro-Hamas Rashida Tlaib. 22 rhinos, folks, jump sides to the Democrats. And the rest of the Republican Party, they should, as their own caucus, censure them. Whether or not it's an official congressional record, it should be read into the record that the Republican Party is disgusted by these 22 rhino pieces of shit. And a rhino, to help remind you, is a Republican in name only. In other words, they vote like Democrats, they think like Democrats, they act like Democrats 90% of the time or more. Oh, sometimes it's only 80, John. How dare you call them a rhino? 80% of the time they vote for Democrats, and 20% they're still Republicans. They register as Republicans to get votes. And then they try playing both sides against the middle. They try and please this crowd and that crowd to get the most votes. When Hillary was, well, Bill's wife, and he was president running for that, he was a centrist, meaning he's lying to both sides, trying to trick and fool them. Well, what a convenient freaking segue that is, huh? Oh, what a convenient segue that is. How about this? Let's go right to Hillary Clinton. She has been hired as a professor at Columbia University or some such fucking place. Yeah, Columbia. Students walked out on her lecture. Not all of them, but a great number of them. Because she stood up and started her bullshit, being a centrist. Good. I'm glad she got walked out on. She should have been laughed at loudly. She should have been booed. She should go, Hillary Clinton, and hide in a cave forever, right? And here's the fact, folks. Hillary and other fascist, Marxist politicians, they have blended, folks, communism and fascism together to make sure you get pure totalitarianism, a hot, steaming cup of shit, while the people at the top enjoy and maintain their power politically and in the corporate world. So Hillary and these other fascist politicians want students in college, like the idiot high school judge. They want them to be both peace-loving hippie Democrats, and they also want them to be Israeli-hating, Hamas-supporting, warmongering Democrats who will threaten the world with communism and the penalty for standing up against them. But here in this case with Hillary, even idiot college students see the hypocrisy, the doublespeak, the gaslighting, lying politicians for what they are. Folks, Democrats now, because they're out front and so loud, screaming that every vote has to be counted, but not Trump's. Screaming that we want peace. Peace. Trump is going to start World War III, but then they want to go start World War III. Democrats will alienate one side or the other now. They have woken college students up and made them so insistent that this belief or that belief is the one thing that matters more than anything else in the world. Carbon bad, peace good, war with Hamas good, and anti-Israel, right? Everything is like extreme. So they've alienated everyone they've been lying to. And they have lied and promised everything to everyone. So back to Hillary. It's no wonder students walked out. Hillary is not so clever, folks, and beloved, that she can talk out of both sides of her fucking neck. Hillary, folks, in all truth, is siding with war. And that's why these peace-loving hippie Democrats walked out on her. But she knows, Hillary does, that she has to support war to get military-industrial complex money, as well as not piss off the murderous jihadists around the world that she wants to turn loose on America to help destroy it. Folks, and that is how a politician creates destruction with divide and conquer actions and playing all sides as if they're Satan claws, able to give everything to anyone at any time. But Hillary's getting caught. And what happens to politicians when murderous revolutionaries aren't happy with them? I don't know. Let's find out, because that's what they're pushing for. That is what they're pushing for. Unbelievable shit, folks, that's going on. Now, these rhinos, by the way, rhino representative in Congress, Ken Buck, is announcing his departure from Congress. Ken Buck. Is anyone in the Prepared Mind audience that's here live right now? Because if you're a preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com premium member, which is $2 a month on one of those two websites, we'll get you here live every day with me. And we can talk about this stuff in real time, folks. Real time. I think that's supposed to be important. It's real time if you're on the preparedmind.club's premium thing, right? Someone has got to have Ken Buck as their representative. Now, Ken Buck says that's it. And this is what he does. He is citing his frustration with the Republican Party's, quote, lie that the 2020 election was stolen. You can't fool me, Ken Buck. You're a fucking liar. You're a pile of shit. Let me explain to you as a public figure who is up for scrutiny, who is up for criticism, because I have a First Amendment right to criticize you for lying to us. The GOP, that's the grand old party. That's the Republican Party, is the GOP. That would be Kittens Mittens Romney's daughter, Ronna McDaniel Romney. She is the leader of the GOP, the institution. They are not saying the election was stolen. They're saying, let's move on. We don't want Trump. They're doing everything they can to get rid of Trump. The GOP is. He is not part of the GOP debate process. Is everyone here aware of that? That the GOP will not allow Trump in. And Trump's like, well, fuck you. I don't want to be in anyways. Right? The people will vote in the primary for the presidential candidate they want. As Republicans, you vote for your primary candidate. That will be Trump on the ticket. Unless all these Democrats and rhinos can do everything they can to violate the sanctity and trust the government has been insured with, and inured with, empowered with, so that we don't disenfranchise voters out there and take away the candidate that they want, the candidate that they deserve. Fuck, these fucking people. So Ken Buck says, I'm frustrated with the lie that the 2020 election was stolen, that the GOP is pushing. It's not the GOP. Trump is the one, and many Republicans who are not rhinos are saying that. The GOP party, they're the ones saying everything's fine. Let's just keep going and make our money as scumbag, lying, carpetbagging, piece of shit politicians, sticking their hand in everyone else's pocket and pulling money. The rhinos know, folks. The 22 rhinos and Ken Buck being amongst them, they know they're going to be attacked politically, not violence. I don't call for any violence here, folks, but I do predict violence is going to occur caused by a bunch of violent leftist pieces of shit. Now, rhinos know that they are going to be attacked politically for being sellouts. So Ken Buck, hasta la vista, Plaza del Domingo, hasta mañana, have a salad, enjoy your life. Get the fuck out of Congress. You're not representing what the people want. You're a rhino. Stand for what's right or don't stand at all. I wonder if I've made myself clear as a disgruntled American who doesn't like the country being destroyed by anti-American politicians. Yes. Folks, this is important. Very important. I want you, as the audience here, I need you to take a wild guess. That's right. The Jim Jones Juice Soda says, hey, Tyler Christopher of General Hospital daytime television fame. He has died at age 50 following a cardiac event in his apartment. An event? Take a wild guess. Cardiac, Jim Jones juice, cardiac event, dead, age 50. Tyler Christopher was one of those handsome soap opera stars, right? Dead. We're going to miss you, dude. I love soap operas. It's terrible that he's gone, folks. He's died, but I want you to take a wild guess. Please. Please. And then we've got this. While we're taking a wild guess, actress, famous actress, Brooke Shields, with eyebrows that no man with a container of Jergens lotion could resist. Brooke Shields has revealed that she had a quote, well, it's not a quote. She had a grand mal seizure. Now here's the quote. She was, quote, frothing at the mouth, turning a blue color. I would like to invite you to take a wild guess as to what could have caused her grand mal seizure. Now, to keep it very simple, because I'm not a doctor, I am not a scientist, I'm not a medical expert, I'm not a big mouth lying sack of shit politician or bureaucrat, but I'm pretty sure that a grand mal seizure is, well, a seizure. It's a short circuiting of the brain. Seizure, you just lose your shit, shake. There's petite mal seizures and grand mal seizures. That's right. The French words petite and grand found their way into American medicine. So, grand mal seizure means she had a big motherfucking seizure. Frothing at the mouth, foaming like a rabid dog. She was turning a blue color. Folks, why would a person turn blue? Now, if you cut yourself, your blood is red because it is instantly oxygenated. Oxygen, instantly oxygenated. And when that oxygen leaves the blood, it turns blue. So if her skin was turning blue, it's because she was not getting oxygen through her lungs. Do we have a pulmonary issue here as well? Is she having lung problems? Not getting enough oxygen? Could that have, I don't know, contributed to the grand mal seizure? Or did the grand mal seizure cause her to not breathe properly? Turning her blue, frothing at the mouth, having a grand mal seizure. I'm going to let you take another wild guess. Do you think that super actress, the super beautiful, world's greatest eyebrows, Brooke Shields, do you think she is an advocate for or against the Jim Jones juice? Take a wild guess at the frothing at the mouth, turning a blue color, grand mal seizure having actress, and decide for yourself. By the way, she still appears to be very beautiful, even at her age. We all age, still very beautiful, in good shape. I'm sure she has personal trainers. I'm sure she has dietitians. I'm sure she has doctors at her beck and call to help her maintain the most attractive visage as well as the most attractive body. I'm sure she does everything she can to maintain that. Because can you imagine being Brooke Shields? Can you imagine that? That level of everyone wants to be you beautiful. I mean, is she Maybelline? Name your freaking makeup, right? There's Brooke Shields. She's like, look at my eyebrows, right? She's there. To lose that status is beautiful. Sucks. Now, fortunately, I'm not that attractive, so I'm not going to miss it. My dad told me that when I was a small boy, they used to have to tie a pork chop around my neck to get the dog to play with me. And so I don't have to worry, but I know for these beautiful people, look out. Woo! Brooke Shields' eyebrows, yeah. Take a wild guess. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. Sorry, man. I know. I turned it into turned this big steaming thermos of SHTF into a joke session, but it is satire. You'll have to forgive me just a little bit. Just a little bit. Let's see. Mr. Uman, I would like you to prepare to take the witness stand live with me, if you will, because he sent me earlier, folks, the Illinois State Police first public hearing on gun ban registration. Now, because Uman is from the state of Illinois, he knows a lot more about this topic. Uman becomes the expert, if you will, on Illinois, because he's from there. He's not a doctor of Illinois. No one's making that claim. Anyways, I can't help it, man. I'm feeling like a complete jackass today. These fucking people want us to believe their lies at every turn. Anyway, so let's talk about this Illinois state gun ban and the police public hearing. What did they say? Fill us in.
Well, I listened to it for a little bit, but after about 15, 20 minutes, I couldn't listen to it anymore because, they had a public comments session where they had people had written in and to ask questions about this stuff. And they're asking, does a flash suppressor qualify the same as a muzzle brake or as a silencer and all this other stuff? And all they would do was answer, well, we refer you to the code. And because this mandate or whatever the hell it is so vague, this was like a gun shop guy asking this question because it's so vague. And he was like, well, what if they can't tell the difference? And all they kept doing was, we refer you back to section so-and-so of the code. Mm-hmm. And it's just ridiculous. The one thing that
even the police couldn't answer the question.
The police representatives, they must have screened these things to have, we refer you to section so-and-so of the code. They just kept referring. It's like they had pre-read these things and come up with their little canned answers, and they just kept referring everybody back to the code and really didn't answer any questions. Okay. One gentleman asked, how does that apply to semi-automatic shotguns? If
a shotgun is not a rifle, right?
Right. But, they didn't even give a straight answer on that. Technically, I don't think shotguns fall under this regulation. But, he was asking, what if, I'm using 1 3/4 shells and I could put 10 in there, but if I'm using 3-inch shells, I could only put 5 in there. Is it because it can take 10 in some configuration that it's going to be illegal?
Tubular magazine, right?
What's that?
Because it's a tubular magazine.
Yeah, with the tubes, it's all the length of your shells dictates how many you could put in there.
Correct.
And they really didn't give a straight answer to that either. I mean, some of the most basic questions, they couldn't just give you a yes or a no.
Now, has the vagueness of the statute, wasn't that the basis for a case that it was unconstitutional and that it didn't clarify?
Yeah, it's saying that there's too much. It's too vague. It's open to too much interpretation. It doesn't clearly define what it is. I mean, they listed a number of them on there, but it's a farce. The only thing that is making me happy right now is that, after registration now has been open for a month, they've only had 0.1% compliance.
That's nice. That's great. So yeah, fuck the government. In other words, let's see, shall not be infringed. That's pretty easy to understand. So I'm glad that people are ignoring an unconstitutional rule. Now, but let's go back to the court case that was, I believe that argument was thrown out, was it not? That it doesn't matter that it was too vague. It stands for now. And
one judge ruled against it, and they put a stay on the law.
Okay.
And then it came back in an appeals court, and they overturned the stay.
They overturned the stay, but not the case.
Yes. So the case is still out there, floating out there, pending. I just hope everybody's not sitting around waiting to the last minute to see if it gets overturned before rushing in there in December and registering everything.
Right.
I just hope everybody just says, screw you, come and take it.
Come and fucking take it. Now, I tell you, this is the world we're in now, Oliver. This is the world.
Yep.
I'm glad that you're a law-abiding citizen as well as a tremendous taxpayer in the state of Illinois.
Oh, lucky me.
Yeah, I tell you, this it's amazing how Democrats demand their constitutional rights, whatever right that is they're referring to.
Yeah.
While in the next breath doing everything they can to destroy the Constitution, the very document and authority that the government has that they're trying to use to protect themselves, that they want to just do away with. It's like, how can anyone not see that?
Now, the self-awareness is just mind-boggling, or the lack of self-awareness. I mean, they demand everything for themselves, but demand everything else be taken from you.
Correct. Yeah.
Because that's not really what that constitutional law meant.
Yeah. Well, I want to remind everyone of Marbury versus Madison, which was the constitutional decision that any law is null and void if it violates the constitutional premise that it's seeking to overturn. In other words, you can't pass a law to overrule the Constitution. Only the Constitution can overrule the Constitution. And that's only done through the amendment process, which I think also needs even more buttressing against these communist fucks. But that's a technical term, communist fuck.
Yeah, the one letter that they read really impressed me. Where this guy was making an argument, and hopefully some of these other gun groups, if they haven't thought of it already, get an idea from this. But he was arguing not only is it unconstitutional, but this is also an ex post facto law. And ex post facto laws are not legitimate. They're not allowed.
Correct. I don't even know if I haven't heard that term issued or uttered by a politician.
No, neither have I.
So the more common colloquialism used is, well, those older guns are grandfathered in.
Yeah, as long as you register them.
Well, they can, but you forcing someone to register something that before they get owned by right and now is by permission and registration.
Yeah,
it's ex post facto.
Yeah, and I thought that was a very good argument that I hope some folks pick up on if they haven't already.
What's interesting is there's so many avenues of objecting to laws like this. They exist because the law itself, or rather the statute itself, is so, shall we say, unconstitutional, corrupt, and wrong. It's So it's easy to find multiple ways to say that's unconstitutional, because in order to get to where they're at, they violated so many of our constitutional premises of restricted government and us having rights.
Correct.
Anyways, I really appreciate you coming on live like that, unannounced until I announced it.
All right.
I'm the Polo Loco. I'm the crazy polo player who looks like a chicken. Anyways, Heidi got this shirt for me as a great joke, and I enjoy wearing it. Plus,
Nice.
It's actually a very comfortable T-shirt.
All right. Well, I'm going to get back to harvesting questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Now, because Uman came on there at the end of the monologue, but he's also kind of like a viewer and listener while being a moderator and a blue wrench swinging dude and everything. Anyways, let's do this. Let's get to the inner circle with you guys. And in honor of our great Second Amendment right to self-defense, defending the state and telling the government, you can't touch my personal property, firearm or not, go fuck yourself. This is the segue promo piece provided by Mr. T to get us to the inner circle. All righty. There we have it. Okay, Mr. Uman, I know we've got some great questions out there. Before we start, though, I want to say thank you to Michael Brown for making a CashApp donation to the Prepared Mind GTFB and SB fund and the whatever fund we got. Basically, it's to keep us on the air and keep us alive fund. Michael has been a great contributor, both in questions and in support financially for the network, keeping Jolene, me, Uman, well, I guess I'm well fed and well drunk. Thank you very much, Michael. You're the man. Now, let us get to a question. Mr. Uman, who wants to step up first? And it's Jane Dixon, who writes, why do Democrats talk down to the American people when they talk to us? I probably have a higher education than Ray and Austin. Christopher Ray and Lloyd the loser Austin, the Secretary of Defense. Well, I think, Jane, you could make that claim that they talk to all of us as if we're morons, right? Whether it's Hillary, a former politician, former loser of a wife to Bill Clinton, or Lloyd the loser Austin, or the president himself, or Karine Jean-Pierre, who talks down to us, who thinks she's special because she is a foreign-born black female lesbian who is the speaker's, or rather the president's spokesmouth. Well, she's a tard, in my opinion, and she became a stuttering, blithering, blubbering idiot today when she was asked if Biden, her boss, was concerned to see an indicted Democrat senator. He's been indicted for bribery, but he's being allowed to attend a classified briefing. Now, President Trump is being prosecuted by fat ass Fannie Willis down in Atlanta, Georgia. I think for secret documents, or no, is that for insurrection? But they're trying to get him for these secret documents. Yet they're letting someone. Trump has not been indicted, right, for bribery. I'm sure they're gonna. That's next. Tune in next week. But Senator Menendez is. President Trump right now is not in a position of authority in the government. Senator Menendez is. So why would he be allowed to attend a classified briefing when he's an alleged criminal? That's right, folks. They think we're too stupid to figure it out. Now, here's the converse, or rather the inverse. Maybe they know you're too smart, Jane, so they're not talking to you anymore. They're not talking to me. They're not talking to Uman. They're not talking to Michael Brown. They're not talking to any of us. They're not talking to Uman. They're not talking to John. They're not talking to John. They're not talking to that other John. They're not talking to Bonnie. They're not talking to Greg. They're not talking to anybody. Did I miss anyone? Know who they're talking to? They're idiot supporters. And they need to talk down to them because their idiot supporters are probably less intelligent than the unintelligent people in the Democrat and Rhino parties that think they're brilliant. Kind of like Sam Bank Fraud Freud. Just like he thinks he's smarter than everyone, that he can talk a bunch of trash and talk down to the court while he's being tried for numerous fraud crimes with zero, right, humility, that he has defrauded Americans out of billions of dollars, laundered it, and gave it to Joe Biden and other political fuckheads in Washington, D.C. He's not sorry in the least. He thinks he should be able to get away with it. That's the temerity. That's the hubris. That's the arrogance of these people who think they're powerful and think they're brilliant and think they're better than people like you and I, Jane. All righty. Mr. Uman, who wants to step up next? Speaking of Heidi, I love this shirt, by the way, Heidi. Thank you. She says, I've noticed that Biden, not Hunter, but Joe Biden, has a habit of saying the truth and then laughing like it's hilariously ridiculous. And everyone thinks it's a joke. He's been doing it for decades. Yeah, but he is such a fucking moron, Heidi, that the truth falls out of his mouth. There's a part of him that rejects his lies and his fraud and spits the truth out. He's revealed how many times that he is a racist dumbass. He's revealed how many times that he is the most filthy liar. I was a truck driver. I was a miner. I was a construction guy. I was a tree trimmer. I was a babysitter. I'm surprised he hasn't come out and said, back when I was a African-American baby, it just insulted us that way. He is ridiculous. Now, the part about him laughing, I think that's honesty. That's the other side of his brain. The one honest side comes out and says, this is what I did and this is what I am. Right? I'm a child sniffing, groping, POS, alleged sexual assault against Tara Reid and who knows how many other women. Jackass, right? He'll say things that are true, and then the other side of him is a sadistic jackass and an arrogant fool who starts laughing out loud knowing he's getting away with this. Now, what I'm going to add to that, Heidi, is that Joe Biden is not alone in this class, in this arena of stupidity. There is someone else in the White House who is also every bit as capable of sounding and looking like a complete fool. And that would be the vice president, camel toes Horace. She cannot put 2 or 3 sentences together that make any sense. The descriptive term for anything she says is a word salad. Like a bowl of salad. You put lettuce in there, some tomatoes, and then you just kind of mix shit up. That's a salad. She does it with words. She just takes a sentence and mixes all kinds of shit up. She's asked an uncomfortable question about the hypocrisy of Democrats or the lies coming out of Washington, D.C. And she'll start laughing, cackling, because they've been caught. Someone has asked her about it, and she can't hide it. She honestly laughs when faced with some terrible thing, like our southern border. Should the vice president be laughing when describing the travesty of the open border that is being crossed on a daily basis by actual, real anti-American, hating terrorists? She laughed about the Maui fire. She laughed about anything. Anything that is the truth and is uncomfortable, she's going to laugh about because she knows it's true. And she's also, in my opinion, sadistic. And that she thinks it's funny that she's able to get away with all the things they're doing. That she's not held accountable. She's not responsible. She doesn't have to answer. All she has to do is throw out some word salad and start laughing. That really is our leadership. When the truth comes out, when a hard question is posed, they ignore it and run, or they stand there and laugh. In Karine Jean-Pierre's case, she decided to start babbling and stuttering. Dee-ba-dee, dee-ba-dee, right? I would call her Porky Pig D. I'm not going to answer that. That's all, folks. I would laugh. I would do that, but I don't want to insult Porky Pig. I don't want to insult Porky Pig. Anyways, thank you, Heidi, and Mr. Ooh Man. Who wants to step up next? We'll put you right up here on the board. We'll make you famous. Name redacted. Says this. He says, John, my wife said this is now the third General Hospital actor to die suddenly after the whole cast was forced to get the Jiminy Cricket juice. One cast member quit, and that one is still alive, by the way. In other words, cast members that said, you know what, go fuck your juice. Not taking it. Those people aren't dying. But those who got it, I'll let you decide, right? The whole cast was forced. Oh, no, they weren't forced. Then no one can force you. Oh, really? No one can force you. So name redacted continues with the point. That's a relatively small group with a very high mortality rate. We're still in that scary situation, folks. We're still there. We're still in a very scary situation where people are continuing to die. Now, I want to share this with you. This is an interesting number. Right now, in the end of 2023, as I look at the calendar, it is November 2nd. The percentage of people who have lined up to get the Jim Jones juice at the end of calendar year 2023, even as Big Pharma, that's right, Big Pharma, 6% of the country are willing to go say, I'll take another one of those, please. That should be a top story. That should be a Pfizer Files story. That is a relatively small group with a very high complication rate. And nobody is lining up to take that shit because nobody is being told you have to. Biden's not standing out there going, you go take that, I'm losing my patience. Remember that? When the president of the United States scolds the people who elected him, all 5 of them, when he scolds them, right? Who the fuck that's essentially a presidential threat, in my opinion. And I'm not saying the president shouldn't threaten people with, taking their, social benefits they paid into their whole lives, taking away their government contracts that they won fair and square. And that, folks, imagine this. Imagine if you had a government contract that you were awarded in 2020. And that contract was good till the year 2030. A nice, big, fat, juicy, huge government contract that you had to be the low bidder on to get. And the government comes in later and says, if you don't do something now, you're going to lose that contract. Well, there's no stipulation in those contracts that you have to obey a medical command coming from the president of the United States, or you'll have that contract voided. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Sorry. I forgot. The government is sovereign and they can do whatever the fuck they want. Go ahead and try suing them in their own court. That'd be like me punching you in the nose and then saying, if you would like to object to the fact that I punched you in the nose, why don't you come and talk to me and ask me to take it back? And we'll see if I change my mind about it. The government, folks, sides with the government. The government is not here to side with us. It's not its role, its job. The government is here to pass laws and try and make us obey. The government is here to enforce those statutes that they have set out in front of us, like stumbling blocks and tax collecting devices, so that a policeman or a bureaucrat can fine you, make you go to court where you argue for the least amount of penalty and the least amount of jail time. And then you pray. That's what pleading is praying. Plea is to pray that they give you a fucking break and don't screw you over. That's why they have these things where, well, if you plea or pray to the court, please, court, as if you're worshiping them, praying to them, reduce my sentence. If you don't pray to them and suck up and kiss their ass and lick their fucking boots, then they'll throw the book at you, meaning you'll get the maximum penalty, fine and jail time. Welcome to the United States of Soviet Union, Communist, Maoist, Leninist, Marxist America. That's what they have in mind for us, folks. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, Mr. Uman. Uman has something to say. He says, Chicago residents are pushing back hard against the city of Chicago over taking migrants into their neighborhoods. There's a question mark. Why should our tax dollars go to them, meaning the migrants, the illegal immigrant aliens? Why should our tax dollars go to them when you're not even taking care of us? Uman ends by saying, ironic. I'm going to add to that. Is it ironic? It is, right? The government is under no obligation, should never have been under any obligation to take care of us. That's not the government's role, or should not be the government's role. Yet the Democrats have done that. They put it in place where the government is our safety net. The government feeds us, clothes us, houses us, provides transportation to all of us, as well as cell phones. But it's also ironic that the people who collect government benefits would make the claim, the extraordinary claim, that they have tax dollars. Why should our tax dollars go to them? Now, if that was spoken by someone who's employed, he's saying, why are my tax dollars that I paid going to pay for these illegal immigrants? But someone who is, shall we say, unemployed and collecting public money is saying, why is the tax dollars that should come to me going to them, right? Why are my tax dollars that you stole from working people going to these illegals, them? Anyways, Uman says it's ironic because these statements are coming from people that are receiving other people's tax dollars. Yes, indeed. Stealing my thunder there, aren't you, Uman? Good stuff, crazy stuff. What a world, folks. What a world. Okay, Mr. Uman, what do we have next? I've got other things I want to talk about, but of course, this is the second half of the hour. Second half of the hour, there's a picture of Hillary that got sent to me. Stop doing that, whoever's doing that. Don't send me pictures of Hillary. Mikey G steps in, and thankfully, there's a picture of Mikey G holding a giant freedom seed spreader rather than using a picture of Hillary. Anyways, he says, with the Department of Just Us, we have seen them to be, we seen. Let me try reading this again. With the Department of Justice, we seem to be running out of remedies. Seem to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, this talk of civil unrest. It always is the case, Mikey G. You can go to the French Revolution. You can go to the American Revolution. You can go to just about every revolution around the world that is asking for freedom for the people, not asking for communism or Marxism or Leninism or Maoism. When the people demand freedom from the government squeezes them tighter. For example, in 2020 and then 2021, Governor Gretchen the Grinch, grizzly ass Witless Whitmore. The people said, we don't want to wear these masks anymore. We're going to protest. We're going to fill the Capitol building because we're allowed to go on public property, apparently, in Michigan at least. You want to do that? I'm going to give you more lockdowns, more mask requirements, more restrictions, more penalties. That's what happens. The Department of Justice, we're running out of ways to get justice, to hold people like, well, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Hillary. Name your politician. Name them. How about former Attorney General Eric Holder? He should be tried for his crimes. Hillary Clinton should be tried for her crimes. Right? Benghazi, hello. They should be tried for their crimes, held accountable. But we're not going to get that. So when we don't get accountability of criminals on the top end, yet on the bottom end, we're tried. The people who've been arrested for January 6th violations of public property by standing around knowing that the president was giving a speech, knowing that politicians are seeking to screw us out of our right to an election by the people, of the people, that's supposed to benefit the people, not corporations. Right? Here we are. The more they come after us and the more they deny accountability, the more the odds, the higher the odds of civil unrest. This occurred, like I said, to the French, the English, every country around the world that has demanded freedom and liberty. Let me tell you something else about Mahatma Gandhi while we're here, about freedom and revolution. Everyone thinks of Mahatma Gandhi as this little yogi, Swami type guy from India. Right? He's this little bald-headed dude with, round horn-rimmed glasses, kind of John Lennon style, except he predated John Lennon. Mahatma Gandhi, who created a system of protest called civil disobedience, non-violent civil disobedience. Mahatma Gandhi said that if they had firearms, guns, or weapons, they would have used those instead of trying the non-violent civil disobedience. Ultimately, they won. Ultimately, they won their freedom from the British. In our digital, computer-controlled age, if you try and be civilly disobedient, what happens? You will lose your job. You will have your bank account seized. You'll have your property stolen instantly. You think you're going to get out of paying taxes? Wrong, motherfucker. You will be obedient. It costs a lot of money just to stay alive in America, much less get ahead. Is that how it's supposed to be? Is that how the game is supposed to work? You have to work your ass off just to try and pay your fucking bills. Interesting, huh? Very, very interesting. Yemen still out there threatening the world. Don't worry. They've got no fucking Yemen. All right, Uman, is there anyone next? What do we have next? Uman says, with all the looming oil and gas problems, meaning potential embargoes and shortages for the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world, with all the looming oil and gas problems, what do you think the Democrat solution is? Delay major oil and gas lease sales mandated under the Inflation Reduction Act? Brilliant. Exactly. That's what Biden, that's what the Democrats want. They want to continue to delay opening up our oil fields, leasing out federal lands, allowing exploration and development of oil in this country. Would we give a fuck about OPEC if we had all of those oil sands coming out of Canada through the Keystone Pipeline? If you go back to when Trump got elected, folks, I had a great map on the Board of Truth. I know we all missed the Board of Truth, showing what Trump was doing, protecting this country with the Keystone Pipeline. And folks, I listened to Canadians bitch and moan and gripe, and with good cause, because the Americans negotiated that oil coming through that pipeline, Canadian oil, so cheap that the oil companies in Canada were barely making any money, and therefore no profits, and therefore no tax money and tax revenue going to the Canadian government. We had a sweetheart of a deal there. Oil coming out of the center of Canada, going down to the center of America, where it's protected on all borders. Nope. Biden killed that day one. Fuck you. There it is, folks. Ah, boy, I tell you. Unbelievable. Apparently, Adam Shifty Shithead Schiff, the lying pencil neck piece of crap congressman from California, he wants to replace LaFonza Butler of Maryland as California senator. He wants this lady from Maryland, LaFonza Butler, to replace Dianne Feinstein as U.S. senator. Isn't that amazing? And Adam Schiff, he lives and has main or primary residence in Maryland. Someone look up this and make sure it's confirmed, folks. It's on. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, because civil unrest will be coming to you one way or another, come hell or high water, by hook or by crook. They're going to get into this country and try to screw us over. You need to be prepared with a plan, because chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper?